Hello, I'm very happy to welcome you as the Associate Dean of the MIM program to this second episode of the CEO Studio. I just want to remind you the objective and the purpose of this session. It's to provide material to an elective course that we are developing for the MIM in order to address the real job of being a CEO. We believe that in the MIM that there is a strong difference between being a manager, even a top manager, and being a CEO. You all know that many researchers and many practitioners make a difference between being a manager and being a leader. We believe, in fact, at ESCP Europe that you cannot be a manager without being a leader, but we believe that there is a strong difference between the nature of the jobs of a top manager and the nature of the jobs of a CEO. We also believe that not every one of you wants to be a CEO, but we also assume that there is not so many people that know really what is a CEO and what does a CEO. So these sessions of the CEO Studio are targeting this issue. What is a CEO? What is he doing? What does he need? What does he need to know? What kind of path should he follow in order to become a CEO? These are all the issues that are going to be handled in this seminar. This is the first specificity of this CEO Studio. The second one is that it's not a normal conference given and delivered by CEO. Many business schools have this kind of sessions where CEO come and share their experience and their lives. The originality is that the CEO here have accepted to be interviewed by a professor. So one of the main specificities of this CEO Studio is this interaction between a CEO and a professor.
Thank you, Fabien. First of all, good evening. This program is the brainchild, a co-creative process between alumni and teachers. And this is a first for the school. And we were lucky enough to have the support also of the dean of the school, Franck Bournois, on this program, who's been very involved. And we want to share it with you so that you will add your inputs. It's important. It's an interactive process. And we want to open a new road for you, a big picture, which besides all the techniques you learn at ESCP Europe, it will enable you to position yourself, not where the ball is, but where the ball will be. As a great hockey player, I think it's Wayne Gretzky said, to anticipate, you learn to anticipate. This classroom is going to be a market for ideas. Everyone participating in this co-creation of knowledge. It's a team environment, it's a transformative experience.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you for being there. But the first question is always the same, in fact. Where do you come from? Okay? So can you summarize your first 20 years in 2-3 minutes with the most interesting things? Back to the very beginning of the story.
To my origins, yes, I'm born in Sens. It's say 25,000 inhabitant city southeast from Paris, 120 kilometers north from Burgundy. And I grew up in my family house where my father was a CEO of a very small company, between 10 and 25 workers, depending on the let's say environment. And he was specialized in paintings, wallpapers, windows, and this kind of thing. And I spent many summers on site with workers doing this job for my father.
And do you remember when you were young that, for example, at the family table during the dinner, etc., do you remember some conversations where, well, your father already gives you some insight about what could be the greatness, but also the hardships and difficulties of a CEO's job, of a boss job?
Always, a lot of issues because this kind of small company is facing many, chaotic work. So it was, let's say, globally quite difficult, not that easy to manage this kind of of a worker company. Yeah. So I heard a lot about this.
The decision has been made somewhere in your brain that the future will be in this type of career. So you never have any kind of hesitation. Of course, we'll talk about entrepreneurship afterwards, but really the accounting activity, audit, figures, numbers, since the very beginning, it was your thing.
It was, finally, I came to audit, I would say, more or less by chance, because this Niger history, because this offering of Deloitte in Zimbabwe, it was the origin of this. But when I started within Arthur Andersen, I discovered fantastic people, because the level of recruitment at this time was really high, and I was surrounded by people much better than I was. So it was just fantastic, because they made always link between, you know, figures and facts. So finally, you practiced audit, and you discovered businesses, and that was really, really interesting. And I was fascinated by the level of these people around me. So it was really a very, very good apprenticeship, I would say, of the business life.
When we were preparing this session, you told us that it has been also a very specific experience of teamwork.
Yeah, because you always, you know, create and destroy teams depending on the engagement. So you are always with new people, then you are back with someone you knew before, etc. So it's very rich and always changing. That's what is fantastic, and it's the occasion to know plenty of different people, different profiles, people of different origins, and most of them at a very high level.
And so it will be, for this first part, my last question. Do you agree for, if we could just do a very brief business fiction exercise? I mean that we are now in the Amphi Vital Roux in 2027, around mid-April, probably 10 years from now, and we are having a discussion about the evolution of accuracy during the last 10 years. What could be, you know, the key figures of accuracy 10 years from now? You know, do you have an idea? And well, if 10 years it's too much, let's say 5 years.
No, I would be very happy. Let's say it's in 5 years we achieve 100 million. We are 450, 500 people, and we open, let's say, 3 new countries, and the weight of France has decreased, which is very important, because today our organization is more, you know, a planet France with small planets around, and you would like to build really a solar system, you know, with.
You know, the good news is that as long as I listen to you, it seems to be easy. You know, this ambition.
It will be
very reachable, in fact. Okay, so thank you very much for the first part, and now I'm going to leave the floor to Alexandre for maybe a more professional and activity-oriented investigation.
Good evening, Frédéric. Really, it's pretty emotional, isn't it? Like, you know, it seems it was yesterday we were here at the ESCP Europe, finally.
It was just 32 years ago.
Yeah. So to master a little more of this emotion, we'll talk a little bit about martial arts. And by the way, I see our academic dean, who is Chinese, so we could have talked about Kung Fu. But with you, Frédéric, I think you're a judo black belt, so we'll try to think about judo strategy, like using your competitive strengths and this kind of, you know, reasoning. So you were a small player facing off against stronger competitors first. Then you're now a larger player, moving into areas where powerful developments may already be entrenched. And you have the capability, speed, agility, creativity to maneuver your opponents, no matter what the balance of strength may be. So how do you react to this? How do you use your black belt techniques to your business? Or Does it, inspire you, or?
Yeah, I would say in terms of strategy, I think it's better to, let's say, it's very important to have a goal. The goal, the ultimate goal is to one day win something, or to achieve, let's say, our objective from the very beginning of accuracy has always been to become what we call the Hermes of figures. By Hermes of figures, I mean the high-end firm, really considered by everyone. What is important? I think probably we will never reach this goal, but it's important to have it in mind, and then to find your way to achieve this goal. So a parallel with judo or martial arts is, my ultimate goal that I want to achieve is to beat everyone. To be obviously I am someone small in this judo world, but I will do everything I can, to prepare the field. I mean, we know as accuracy that we have a certain way to walk on, and our duty, if I go to strategy, is to have everything ready, to walk properly on this way, and to choose the right way, because every day we find a stair, we find something to go underground, we find a river to cross. The strategy for me is to have everything in place, to be able to go to this way. And it's I have an easy parallel, which is a lot of training, of preparation. You think to that every day, and maybe you won't use them, but you can use them. Okay, it makes you stronger.
According to your answer, now we'll move from martial arts to, I would say, Hollywood agent tactical tilts.
I don't know that.
I'm precise what I'm. Well, you seem, according to some people I've talked to, or your clients, by the way, to radiate an understanding of the essentials of their business when they meet you. Like you understand the inner processes of their business, and you make them feel that. And you have a knack for spotting strengths and weaknesses. And they say from you, some say from you that you're a transitional figure. I like this expression, transitional figure in a transactional world. I think that suits you quite a lot. But in your case, you seem to, put away the voracious and poaching atmosphere inside some firms which have this kind of the same activity, and you manage to ace all those numbers and still be a great place to work. So that's a great strength. So I was thinking about it, and made me think of a kind of blue ocean business model, but applied to client proximity and your ability to listen and respond. So how do you react to this? Like you have a real knack with with the clients. You're good at that. When they're coming to accuracy, it's like that's why I was talking about the Hollywood agent. They have the feeling that a lot of intelligent people are going to think about how they can grow their business. You radiate this kind of atmosphere, and it's important for your clients.
Right, but if you're back to basics, our business is. And it's easy to say that, but it's so true. It's just people, nothing more, nothing less, just people. So there is a very, very well-known question in professional services, which is it client first or people first? For me and for my partners, the answer is definitely people first. Why? If you have client first, you have your clients, and you have people who are, let's say, fairly good people, no more, clients will leave at the end of the day. If you start with people, of the level you considered as the good one, the very good one, and if these people are very motivated, very well in your shoes, very well on their feet, ready to do great things for the company just because they like this company, and they are pushed by something great, they will do the best job, and client will stay and will come. To try to enhance this team spirit, team building, teamwork, I use some concepts. I will maybe develop rapidly one of them, which is giver versus taker. There is a very interesting McKinsey study, which is probably back to 2012 or something like that, and which is so interesting, which show that the most performing organization have a majority of givers and not takers. And I always encourage our people to be givers, to say, give to other, make professional gifts. A professional gift is just to spend 15 minutes with you because you have an issue and you want to explain to me this issue, maybe to have a brainstorming, and never decline this kind of thing. Go to him, go to her, and discuss. And he or she will explain, and then you will create something. And the day after, you will go to him or her or to another one to ask your question, to explain your issue. And like this, you create a fantastic spiral of teamwork. So for me, explaining to the people that it's better to act as a giver than to act as a taker is key.
So thank you, Frédéric. This is really great insights. And I have a last question before leaving back the floor to Philippe. It's a business school, so ESCP Europe is obviously a business school. And you have something in your activities which I really like, I'm really fond of, and we can relate to it here as a business school, is your Accuracy Business Cup. I like this. So explain to us how you make professional work with students, and they have to prove that there can be a future curation. And can you talk about it? Because this is really a great experience, a great transformative experience for students.
First thing is to say that the Accuracy Business Cup is an idea which emerged from our very young people. So it's not my idea, or it's not a partner's idea, or no, it's just the idea of one of our young guys, because we always say, okay, we are building our own house, and you are a builder. So if you have an idea, if you want to come with your own stone, just do it. It's opened. So it was the idea of one of our young guys. And what does it consist in? The Accuracy Business Cup is a challenge between teams from business and engineering school, including ESCP, HEC, ESSEC, Sciences Po, Polytechnique, Centrale, and others. And we offer a business case, which always come from a large listed corporation. So last year it was done with Danone. This year it was done with L'Oréal. And they prepare a work which at the end of the day, and with semi-final and final, is presented in front of accuracy partners, including myself, and a member of the corporate COMEX. So this year we had, together with us, the CFO of L'Oréal, listening to the Accuracy Business Cup guys. And so it's a great moment. Yeah. So they are very good. They are, let's say, very interested, very open to new topics. They like to change from one topic to another. They don't like routine, and they don't like repeating things. They want to observe the work-life balance, to stick to the work-life balance, which I think is good. And I launched an initiative. I didn't talk to you about this now 6 months ago, which I called Accuracy 2030, with a sample of 25 of our young people coming from all our countries. And the topic was just try to imagine your accuracy when you will be, maybe one of you will be the CEO, I hope. What do you want? How do you draw your own paintings of accuracy? And they were so much involved. It was incredible. these people where I was, no, it was a lot of emotion for me to see their report and how they went deep into the topic and the kind of issue which emerged from this work. It was fantastic. Yeah. So I trust our young people more than 100%.
So what does it mean, in fact, in 2017, having an advanced HR policy? I know that you have a very, very precise conception of that, very interesting one, that probably explain the fact that you have been in the Great Place to Work many times. So could we have just, as a sort of conclusion, your personal insight about this advanced HR policy that could be, well, even if you are not supposed to do so, but a sort of, not a model, but a sort of reference for other type of companies?
Yeah, just to summarize that, I would say that young people graduating from any business or engineer school or universities, many of them start their professional life being very anxious. You know, and it comes from different reasons, probably from decades of, social issues, of sometimes bad behavior of capitalism, and many, many things. But today, most of our young people, when they start, they are very anxious. They imagine that they will be in a world, in a professional world of fight, like a jungle with a lot of dangers everywhere. And so I would say to have an advanced HR policy, first is to make them comfortable. Just to say, okay, you are not in a jungle, you are not in an environment where we want to kill you. You are just with people who want to teach you a job, who want to lead you for the beginning of your career, maybe more if you want, who want to accompany your career and your development. That's the first component, which is so important because people are really tensed when they start. Another thing, and it's quite easy because we are still a small company and only 12 years old, is to say, and when I say I believe what I say, it's okay, you are building your house. And I say, together, I'm 53 years old, you are 23 years old, it's not an issue. Together, if you want, and if we decide to build a kitchen of 3,000 square meters, just because we want it, and together we consider that we want this kitchen, we will build it. And believe me, we will do it. So it's very important, to have them part of the project. And
my question is that when you work for accountancy, a consulting firm, as your competitors like Advisory or Deloitte, I hope you don't mind me quoting them. And my question is that when and what are the reasons that you tell yourself that it's time to quit the company and start your own business? Because you mentioned that you would like to start your own business even before the clap of Anderson. And how do you know that you have, enough expertise on evaluation, on restructuring in your case? And how do you know that you have gained enough professional networking large enough to go by yourself? And how do you know that you can create more value yourself than with the company?
Your question is, in fact, about the tipping point, the moment where in my brain suddenly I make the decision saying, okay, I must leave and I must do that. In fact, we try to modelize this to understand exactly what's happening in other people's mind. But, we are not sure that we know. But there is one point anyway. Here in the school, we have a lot of entrepreneurship programs, sessions, modules, etc., etc. And people who dream become entrepreneurs. And a lot of them, they will never become entrepreneurs. That's an issue because we provide them with all the relevant skills and toolbox, and etc., etc. And I remember a few weeks ago, a journalist asked me, what is the psychological profile of a young man or a young woman who is going to become an entrepreneur? And the answer was, I don't know. Because we don't know. It doesn't mean anything. People are diverse. There are people who are very shy, others are very dynamic, etc. There are good with figures. Others are just good but selling and giving the right words at the right moment for convincing people. There are a lot of qualities. But on the opposite, there is something that is linked to what you are saying. We know exactly what is a non-entrepreneur. I mean, somebody will never, in fact, go to the next step. It's very easy. The person who are not able to become entrepreneur are the one, most of the time, who are waiting for being ready for it. If you wait to be ready for becoming an entrepreneur, you'll never, because by definition, nobody is ever ready. Probably what they did was not wise, considering some objective criterias, wise criterias, old people criterias, etc. Maybe it was not wise, but going to the moon was not wise, frankly. Probably building this school 2 centuries ago, at the end of Napoleon realm, was not wise. Nothing interesting in life is neither wise nor expected. What's interesting is sometimes doing bets, trying things, even if it's not wise. And I remember an entrepreneur, I was a young consultant, very young. I was 30 years old, so it's 30 years ago, saying, what is a good decision? A good decision, it is a decision I make, any kind of decision. And after that, after I made my decision, I'm going to do all it's possible to do in order to make it a good one. So the quality of a decision in our world is most of the time built afterwards. First you make the decision, and after that we'll manage. It's called the risk, and it's called the real life, probably.
Thank you very much, Frédéric, because
yes, thank
really,
you.
Thank you. Tonight you have gained not only clients and people who want to work for you, but people will want to be shareholders of your company if you have an IPO.